Hello everyone, welcome to the 6th class of Math Kangaroo 3rd to 6th grade. This will probably be the last class. So today we will be learning about perimeter and area. We will be learning about triangles, rectangles, circles, and cubes. Let's talk about the perimeter of a triangle. Perimeter is the distance around all of the edges of the triangle, or the sum of all the edges. This is the same for the perimeter of all shapes. The perimeter of any shape is the distance around it, or the sum of the edges. In this triangle, the perimeter is 203 plus 145 plus 208 equals 556. Because the lengths of the edges are 203, 145, and 208. These three are numbers you have to add together to get the perimeter. You try. Wait, first, let's talk about the area of a triangle. Area is the size of the surface. In a triangle, it is 1/2 times the base times the height. B is the length of the base, is this length. Height is length of the height, or this length. So area equals 1/2 times B times H. Now let's practice. What is the perimeter and area of this triangle? And if you have the answer, please type it in the chat. So it's been a few minutes. We have an answer from Zachary, but not one from Sophia. Sophia, do you still need some more time? Since there's no response, I'll just wait. She answered, so wait for a bit for the next answer. Sophia, we have answers of 12 and 32. And from Zachary, we have answers of 12 and 6. The perimeter is 12 centimeters and the area is 6 centimeters squared. Let's see how we get that. Know that the perimeter is sum of all sides of the triangle. It equals 3 centimeters. 3 plus 4 plus 5 centimeters equals 12 centimeters. The area is product of the base times height. 1/2 times base times height. So therefore, since over here the height is 3 and the base is 4, I have 1/2 times 3 times 4, which equals 6. Notice how the area is in centimeters, perimeter is in centimeters, and the area is in centimeters squared. This is because this is actually 3 centimeters plus 4 centimeters plus 5 centimeters, which equals 12 centimeters. However, this 3 centimeters times 4 centimeters equals 12 centimeters squared because we're multiplying the centimeters with square centimeters, not just centimeters. The area is always in the unit of the length squared, while the perimeter is always in the unit of the length. Now let's practice again. What is the area of this triangle? If you have the answer, please type it in the chat. So it's been a while. We have one answer of 25. This is correct. So how do you know this? Notice that we can call any side the base of a triangle. Let's call this side the base. Let's draw this over here. Know that this length is 5. This length is 10. And this length is 4. We can calculate the area of this small triangle and the larger triangle. The area of the smaller triangle is 4 times 5 divided by 2 equals 10. The area of the larger triangle is 14 times 5 divided by 2 equals 35. Then we can subtract, get our answer of 25. However, there's an easier way to do it. Notice that if we flip the triangle around, we can get a shape similar to this. Base we know is 10. However, the height of this triangle is 5. It is still the height, even though over here it doesn't seem like the height touches the base of the triangle. However, it is still the height. So we can directly do 10 times 5 divided by 2 equals 25. We can draw a height to any of the bases. For the longer base, this is the height. For this base, the height is here. For the base of length 10, the height is like this. Let's talk about the perimeter of a rectangle. As usual, the perimeter is the distance around the edge of a rectangle. It is 2 times a plus b. So this formula, where a is one side and b is the other side. The rectangle is the size, and it is just a times b, where a is the length of one side and b is the length of the other side. Let's try to find the perimeter and area of this rectangle. If you have the answer, please type it in the chat. So we have one answer from Zachary and two from Sophia. The correct answer is that the perimeter is 22 centimeters and the area is 24 centimeters squared. Let's see how to find this. It's 2 times a plus b. 2 times 3 plus 8 is 2 times 11, which equals 22. The area is a times b, so it equals 8 centimeters times 3 centimeters is 24. Now let's talk about the circumference of a circle. The circumference of a circle is similar to the perimeter of another shape. It is the distance around a circle. This circle, the circumference is the length of the line it just drew, or something similar to this. The circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. Pi is 3.14159 dot dot dot. It is an infinite number. Nobody knows if it will never repeat, and it is infinitely long. So far, we have calculated a whole lot of digits of pi, but it's infinite. So, yeah, pi is a constant, and it is generally generalized as 3.142 over 7. These are estimates, and they don't equal pi. The area is the size of a circle. It is pi times the radius squared. The radius is the distance from the center of a circle to the edge of the circle. The orange line with an arrow on it is the radius of the circle. Radiuses are the same because the center of a circle is directly in the center. The circumference and the area of this circle, where the radius is 4 centimeters. Give you some time to think about it, and if you have the answer, please type in. Yeah, by the way, don't need an exact answer. You can write something times pi, because pi isn't an exact number. You can write something like 30 pi, or something like 30 pi. This isn't the answer, just how you're supposed to write it. Once you answer it, I'll give the answer. The circumference is 8 pi and the area is 16 pi meters squared. So the circumference is 2 times pi times the radius, which is 2 times pi times 4, which equals 8 pi. The area is pi times the radius squared, which is pi times 4 squared equals 16 pi. Basically, you just need to memorize the formula. Formula for the area is pi times the radius squared. Formula for the circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. Now let's talk about the rectangular prism. The surface area is sum of the areas of the faces. In this case, it's 2 times 6 times 3, which is the bottom face, 4, which is the side face, which is the front and back face. Notice that there are 2 of each of these faces on the shape. Volume is how many space is inside the shape. So it's 6 times 3 times 4, because those are the lengths of the edges. It's basically how much water can fit inside a box of this shape. Find the volume surface area of this rectangle. To think about it, if you have the answer, please post it in the chat. So you think the surface area is 140 and the volume is 100. Surface area is actually 160. I think this is probably a calculation error, but like, I'll still show you why. It's 2 times 2 times 5 plus 5 times 10 plus 2 times 10. This is 10, this is 50, this is 20. In total, we have 2 times 80 equals 160. Probably a calculation error, though. So, I think you understand the concept. It's not time for a break, but now let's do some actual problems. Linus builds a 4 times 4 times 4 cube made up of 32 white and 32 black 1 by 1 by 1. He arranges the cube so that the surface of the big cube has as much white as possible. What fraction of the surface is white? So I'll give you some time to think about this, and if you have the answer, please type it in the chat. The answer of D. The correct answer is actually A. Basically, the cube has one type is a corner square, like over here. It has 3 faces that are on the outside. Another type is an edge square, like this one. It has 2 faces on the outside. Also, an inside square, 1 face on the outside. And square on the very inside, 0. Let's try to put as many white squares on the bigger things so that more white is on the outside. The corner squares will be white. How many faces there are, white faces there are on 8 corner squares. Then let's count the squares on the edge. There are 2 per edge. And in a square there are 12 edges. 24 edge squares. Fill these up with white squares. Square out of white squares. Total amount of white squares on the outside, 24 plus 48. This equals 72. Now the percentage is 72 divided by 4 times 4 times 6. Because this is how many total outside faces there are. Cancelled out, we get the answer A. Second question. Garden is split into equally sized square-shaped lots. Fast and the slow snail crawl in different directions along the outside edge of the garden. Both start at the corner S. The slow snail crawls 1 meter in 1 hour, and Fast crawls 2 meters in 1 hour. In what position will the 2 snails meet for the first time? The answer is B. The way to do this is to directly count it out. Basically, the slow snail goes 1 square, Fast snail goes 2. Slow snail goes another square, Fast snail, and eventually we figure out that they meet at B. The star consists of a square and 4 triangles. All sides of the triangles are equally long. The perimeter of the square is 36 centimeters. What is the perimeter of the star? So I'll give you some time to think about this, and if you think you have the answer, please type in the chat. So the answer is E. This is right, I just won't explain it. The big squares are partially covered in black. In which of the 4 squares is total area of the black parts the biggest? The answer is E, so let's just move on. On the right consists of 1 square part, 8 rectangular parts. Each part is 8 centimeters wide. Peter assembles all parts to form one long 8 centimeter wide rectangle. How long is this rectangle? B is the correct answer, so let's move on then. Raphael has 3 squares. First one has side length 2 centimeters. Second one has side length 4 centimeters. And then 1 corner is in the center of the first square. The third square has a side length of 6 centimeters. And 1 corner is in the center of the second square. What is the total area of the figure shown? 4. Okay. So let's talk about this. The areas of all the squares. The 2 by 2 one is 4. 4 times 4 1 is 16, and this 6 by 6 one is 36. These up, we got 56. However, there are these two squares. Squares are counted twice, so we need to find the errors of it. This square is a 1 by 1 square. This square is a 2 by 2 square. Have to subtract 1 times 1 equals 1, 2 times 2 equals 4. So in the end, it's 56. 1 minus 4 equals 51. Kathy draws a square with side length 10 centimeters. Then she joins the midpoints of each side to form a smaller square. What is the area of the smaller square? Correct. E is the right answer. Perimeter of the rectangle ABCD is 30 centimeters. 3 more rectangles are added so that their centers are in the corners A, B, and D, and their sides are parallel to the rectangle. See the diagram. Sum of the perimeters of these 3 rectangles is 20 centimeters. What is the length of the border of the shape, the thick black line? Let's talk about this one. So we know that, look at square D first. Know that this length is equal to this length, equal to this length, and this length, because they're both of the rectangle. Therefore, let's calculate how much length is added when we add D. Let's add this line. Notice that we can flip this part of the rectangle over to this part. Therefore, all we add is this part, half the rectangle. Add half of the total perimeters of A, B, and D. Sum of the perimeters of these is 20 centimeters. So we're adding 10 centimeters. And 30 plus 10 is 40. So the answer is C. Thomas made the following shape with 6 squares of side length 1. What is the perimeter of this shape? I'll give you some time to think about this. If you have the answer, please type it in the chat. E is correct. A rectangle is formed from 4 equally sized smaller rectangles. The shorter side is 10 centimeters long. How long is the longer side? C is the correct answer. Oh yeah, the bottom part's wrong. There probably won't be a next week. Disregard this part. Let's just go back for a while. Anyways, class is over because we're out of problems. Unless you have any more questions, if you do, you can ask them. Otherwise, class is over because we moved a bit too quickly. We kind of ran out of questions. Okay, bye.